Hey Scott, Jessica Peterson here up in NorCal. Today I had the pleasure of speaking with Esmeralda. She was absolutely wonderful to speak with, and she thought you would want to see this video. So I don't know if you are aware or not, but did you know that your website and online performance can be like a virtual ATM for you guys, bringing in and flooding in jobs every month? It is absolutely possible. And I'm going to give you just 3 tips to help start making that possible for you guys, okay? The first one we're going to talk about is citations. Then we'll talk about content. And then finally, we're going to talk about backlink, okay? So, first, we're going to start where your customers start on their journey. Now, your customers, when they need services, they don't necessarily know who you are, so they're not going to ever be searching, or almost ever be searching for your company name. They're going to be searching for your services with keywords and phrases similar to water damage restoration in Los Angeles. Okay, so your company needs to show up where the customers are searching when they're searching for your services for these keywords. Now, there's 3 different spots in Google that a company has the ability to have top positions in. The first section is always going to be your Google ads, your cost per click ads, as well as your local service ads. But about only 10% of people actually click through those ads. The next section is a lot more important for positioning. This is your Google Maps section, or the map pack, as you may have heard it called. Um, your Google business profile needs to be properly optimized so that you are showing in the top 3 in your area for each of your services when people search those relevant keywords. If you're not, you need to start optimizing that profile. Now, one of the key factors in optimizing and getting into this top 3 position is something called citations. Citations are simply listing the name of your business, your address, phone number, and website in a variety of directories like Yellow Pages, Yelp, Glassdoor, Better Business Bureau, and yes, even having social media pages for it. Those are all different citations, and you want those all across the internet because every single one is sending signals to Google, telling Google that your business is legitimate, who you are, what you do, where you serve, so that Google can help find you those customers, okay? And so you need a lot of those citations. You're going to need more than your competition. And according to Google, the top 3 businesses generally have at least 150 of those citations. So you need to have more than that. And if you're not in the top 3, generally you probably have 50 or less. So you definitely are going to need to triple or more the amount of citations that you have. And then just remember, this is very fluid positioning. So even once you're in the top 3, don't just set it and forget it. You have to remember to optimize every month, adding new photos, updates, etc. Now you want to be in this top spot because nearly 30% of people will skip everything else and come straight to this map pack. And so when you're not one of these top 3 businesses, you're leaving money on the table and you're sending every single one of those jobs to your competitors. Now, the third section and most important section in Google is the organic section here. And the reason for that is 60 to 70% of people come straight here to the organic section. They will skip everything else. They'll skip your ads, they will skip your maps, and they will come right here. So you need your website to appear in the top of Google section here for each of your services. But how do you get this positioning in the organic section? Well, that all starts with your website. So your website needs to be properly built and optimized in order to tell Google that you need to be up in that organic section. So Google does not rank your website based on appearance, it is based on content. Content is key when it comes to ranking. And so Google is going to send these little crawler robots through your website to learn and read all this content to find out who you are, what you're about, and to be able to put you in front of the right people. Without the right content, Google doesn't know who to send your way and doesn't know how to place you to be able to rank you. So when we're talking content, there's a lot of things we're talking about here. You need to have separate pages for each of your services, which I see you have. So that's great. Each of these pages need to be completely dedicated to one service, and you need to have written content built specifically around those services and the keywords people are actively searching for your area. That's really important. You also need to have separate service area pages for each of those services. So since you're serving all these areas, it's good. You do have a start. You do have starting service area pages, but these aren't really doing anything to help you. It's just pretty generic. These are our services and we service here. That is not how you're going to get Google to index you for your services in those areas. You have to have separate pages for each of these services in each area so that you can go after those keywords for those areas and be found in those areas for your services. So it's really, really important that you have all of the pieces together. Otherwise, these pages really aren't doing much to help you. And when we're talking content, content includes images. You want to make sure your images are properly saved. Let's see, save image as. Oh, what the heck? There it is. Okay, so you see this says image 2092. That's not a properly optimized saved image. You should be saving these images with the keywords for your services. So we want to be bearing as many of these keywords as we can behind images. That is going to help with content. The other part of content is this written content. Now you do have a little bit of written content on your homepage, which is good, but you do need a lot more content. This content needs to be a summary of each of these major services, and it needs to be built around those local buyer intent keywords. Now, understand that keywords oftentimes have multiple variations. So you might be looking at Los Angeles water damage restoration in Los Angeles, and you want to capitalize on that because people search differently. Now, you need 150 words for every keyword you're going to target, and your and you have to have the proper repetition of those exact match keywords at least 3 times on the page just to be able to be indexed by Google so that you can rank for it. Okay, and your homepage needs at least 1,500 words or more of content for that. And so if your competitors have 1,500, you actually need more. If they have 1,500, you're going to go after 1,800. So you just have to do better, have better content, better keyword strategy, and make sure your content isn't just generic information, that it's actually helpful and resonates with your customers so they interact and call. Okay. And then you're going to support your website with your SEO strategy, which will bring us to backlinks. But let's first go to your competitor. So for water damage in Los Angeles, ServPro is the top competitor here. And yes, they are a franchise, but yes, they are very beatable. Okay. Franchisees get these templated sites that they can't really modify to be able to go after their own unique strategies in their area. So they pretty much have their hands tied. You have the advantage. Okay, so these guys service just a small amount of zip codes. You have a much wider area. So you just need to do better than they're doing. Have more content. Have better keyword strategy, more images, etc. And then support your website with SEO, which then again brings us back to backlinks. So this is a program called Ahrefs that tells us how your website is performing. And we can see here your website has a 10 out of 100 in Google's Trust Flow, which isn't terrible, but it also means Google still doesn't quite trust your website yet. And that is partially because of the quality of the content on your website, but more so the power you're sending to your website. As with everything else, nothing works without power. So you need to send a lot of backlinks to your website. You're going to need more than all your competitors are doing. Um, but not all backlinks are created equal. This is a popularity contest. You only want to be sending those relevant, do follow backlinks that are most related to your services in your industry or suppliers in your industry. Okay, because it's basically like saying one of these suppliers is saying, hey, Foursquare Restoration is amazing and you should promote them and send them more work because they're doing a great job. Okay, so that's what that's doing. And so you need that authority. You need a lot of power. So if we think of a referring domain is the website that provides your website with a backlink, and the backlink is that physical link from one site to your site. And when you think of your favorite power tool, right, it's not going to work without power. You're going to plug it into a power source. So that power source is a referring domain. And then that power source sends power through the cord of your tool, which is the backlink, and it fires up your tool so you can work it. It's the same concept for your website. We got to keep that positive, high value power going to promote your website so that you can be in the top of those search results. Now, you have been indexed for 123 keywords, but you're only getting about 6 people on average to your website. If we actually look at your keywords, you do have a couple that are actually on the first page of Google, which is great. That's for your brand and for Pasioma, for a couple of these key terms. But you're missing on being indexed and ranking for a lot of your bigger terms, the bigger money jobs, um, and that high volume. So if we took just for instance Los Angeles water damage and just looked at that, we can see if you had proper content on your website and were able to be indexed and ranked for this keyword alone, that has over 700 people searching it every single month. So that when you couple that with the other variations, we've got over 1,000 search volume just for water damage in one city. So you can imagine by optimizing your website for each service in each service area, the type of volume you have potential to come to your website and how much that can mean for your business. Now, if we look at your competitor, yes, they have a higher rating, but we don't care about their website as a whole. We're not competing against the whole franchise, only this one location, and they have a 3.7 with 20 backlinks. But they have 59 keywords that they're ranking for. So they're getting over 700 people to their website. And that has to do with the power of the website as a whole. Remember, I was telling you how important it is to send that power. Because of how powerful that website is, they've been able to rank. So when we look at their keywords, they're ranking for these big money keywords with tons of volume and are on the first page of Google. So now, if you apply all 3 strategies that I've talked to you about today, citations, content, and backlinks, your website has the opportunity to not only compete, but dominate for each of your services in your area, and your online presence becomes that virtual ATM machine. Now, this is something you can totally do on your own if you would like, but if you'd like to see results faster, we specialize in this at Peterson SEO for restoration companies, and we'd be glad to help. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions or would like to schedule an appointment, go ahead and give us a call. We'd be glad to chat.